Todd, there's this old adage, if you want to make $1 million in aviation, you start with two. And yet, with the doldrums experienced by the industry and the difficulties we've had, especially over the last decade or so, Redbird's shown up as a can-do and, oh yeah, make a few bucks at the same time company. Why did that happen? How does that happen in this day and age, and how do we give that to the rest of aviation?
Well, you know, it's funny. You mentioned I was actually, we have this conversation all the time. We started this company in the middle of a recession, at the beginning of a recession.
All the best companies do, right?
Yeah, right, which, yeah. And it had, while the economy's gotten better, it's never recovered, right? So we're kind of anxious about having this company in a thriving economy, because we think that could be a very interesting business model
if
for
novel.
us. Yeah, but I think part of it is we, from the very first day, we approach things much different than other people have. Our first thing that we did was we set a price point. We set a price point based on the research and stuff we had done, the people we had talked to, on what we thought an affordable flight training device was. Then we went about creating the feature function list of all the things that had to be, not only to be an instrument strainer, but a great VFR trainer. And then we sat down and said, how do we build all this feature function to that price point? Now, dirty little secret, the price point we're aiming for, we missed by a little bit, but not much. Mm-hmm. And I think we have continued to take that approach in all the new product development that we have done. We don't go and design something and then set a price point for it. We try to articulate a vision of what a product would be. We set a price point based on the information we can gather, and then we figure out how to build it in that cost. So it may not sound like a big thing, but I think that approach for us has allowed us to price products that allowed people to purchase them, but also allowed us to create the type of margins we needed to be successful.
Charlie, one of the things that is probably indicative of how Redbird has succeeded was the fact that you challenged the conventional wisdom of how flight simulators and how flight training was conducted in this country and around the world. Is that job done yet? Are there challenges to come?
No, it's never done. Yeah, I think that's really been the secret to our success is that we're constantly innovating. We're constantly looking at the market and saying we're not the old assumptions about what the market is and what aviation has always been. They don't necessarily hold true. Let's challenge those. Let's look at how can we change it? What can we do to innovate, to move the market? And that's what we've done all across the board. And sometimes the ideas we have are crazy and they don't end up seeing the light of day, and sometimes they end up being the FMX or the MCX devices that have really changed the way that simulators are used and adopted in the marketplace. So we'll continue to do that.
Well, it takes a creative attitude, and with you with a creative background, I think that's going to be interesting to watch as time goes forward. At the same time, how will Redbird change under you compared to the leadership that's preceded you?
Well, I hope I can bring some of my creativity to it, but in the end, really for the last 10 years, it hasn't been that much different. I mean, you know, one of the nice things about working for Redbird is there isn't sort of this chain of command. The ideas come from the top and everyone just follows suit. There is a lot of free-flowing ideas that happen, and these ideas come from all places in the organization. I think maintaining that is very, very important. I think that's the only way that we're going to continue to be creative and develop new products. So.
Todd, there is kind of a secret sauce in any company. Not just why it succeeds, but what gets it past the tough times, what allows it to succeed when others don't, or for that matter, allows you to continue to be innovative when you're in an environment where that's difficult. What's the secret sauce at Redbird?
Culture, pure and simple. And Charlie and Jerry have kind of talked about this in one way or another, but we encourage risk taking. Jerry said nobody's ever been fired for trying something. That's true. We encourage the risk taking. People talk about, well, think outside the box. Hell, we don't even know where the box is, right? So, and you've witnessed some of the really strange things we've done. And some we won't do again, like 99-cent gas, right? But it's, and frankly, and Jerry probably be the first to admit this, it's one of the things back when we were at Pepsi that was really, really encouraged. You have to fairly frequently walk up to the edge of that cliff. Now, you're not jumping off the cliff, but you've got to peer over it pretty, frequently just to see what's there. And if you're not doing that, you're never going to understand what you could be doing, not even what you should be doing, but what you could be doing. And so I would say it's the culture that has been created at Redbird. Charlie talked about ideas don't come from the top down. Well, there are a lot of ideas that do come from the top down, but there are a lot of ideas that come from the bottom up. There isn't anything so weird that we wouldn't consider it. Doesn't mean we do everything. There's a lot of things that we don't do. Even some of them creep me out. But it's the culture where people will, over beer after work or over at lunch or, just walking the halls and, they'll start talking about something and all of a sudden there's some juices that start flowing in somebody, which is frankly how this whole company got started. Brisket, cerveza, and a level D simulator, and the conversation took off, and that's how Redbird was found. That same culture exists today. And so as long as we don't do anything that would impact that culture, like having an HR department, then we will then we'll continue to innovate and I think drive the type of success we've had over the past 10 years.
So Charlie, the mission statement for 2016 on, how does it evolve? What can we expect from Redbird in the next few years?
Innovate, innovate, innovate. It's stay on top of it, stay in front of the innovation curve, continue to push, and don't forget where you came from in the process.
Outstanding. Gentlemen, thanks so much, and
thanks.
again,
Thank you,
congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks.
Aero-TV is brought to you by...
The Bristol Light Sport aircraft is what you are looking for. The Bristol is wider than a Cirrus, faster than a Skyhawk, offers more storage than a Husky, and comes standard with Garmin avionics. So what are you waiting for? Visit Bristol.com to find out how you can get into a Bristol today.
Sandia introduces the new SAI 340 Quattro TSO'd airspeed, attitude, altitude, and slip. With integral backup battery, safety never looked so good. See it now at www.sandia.aero.